What's good, y'all? It's Drew here, back with another video. Today I'm coming to y'all with two underrated anime that I think, more people should be looking at, basically. Just shining some light on these two anime. Obviously, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. But before we start anything, obviously, it's question of the day. Question of the day is, what is your favorite underrated anime? So off rip, I'm not talking like One Piece or Naruto or even like Bleach or something. Not Fire Force, not Demon Slayer, none of those animes that like we know they get a lot of shine. I'm talking about underrated animes that maybe if you have 10 anime friends, maybe one will bring up or maybe no one. I'm talking about anime like that. Obviously, these are my two favorite because I'm making a video about them. So let's just get right into it. Alright, the first anime I'm going to talk to you about is an anime called Katekyo Hitman Reborn. Anime, manga, same thing. Not same thing, but you know what I'm talking about. So, let me break it down to you. Katekyo Hitman Reborn is basically an anime about a no-good kid, right? He's a middle school kid, chopless. Like, think of the most... first of all, I'm talking about chopless. I'm talking about not good at school, can't get the girls, he's not athletic, he's like no good. So his name is Suna, so people call him no good Suna. He's not good at anything. I'm talking about useless. I'm trying to hammer this into your head, basically. So when I mean useless, I mean like, think of the most chopless person you can think of, and then multiply that by 10, and then double that, and then multiply that by 10, you get Suna. I'm talking about just pure not good at things. A home tutor comes into his life, and basically he says, I'm a home tutor, right? But I'm also an assassin, and you're gonna be the next mafia boss. Everyone knows what the mafia is. We know what they do. You're gonna be the next mafia boss. And obviously off rip, you're like, bro, this kid is gonna be the mafia boss like this one. And so the show is obviously, goes by Reborn. And the hitman, the home tutor is a hitman, and his name is Reborn. That's where the show usually comes from. So the hitman Reborn is training Suna to become the next mafia boss. They're called Vongola. So he's training him to become the next Vongola boss. So that's how it works. Some words of caution. First off, because of the way the anime / manga was like created, it was created as a slice of life at the beginning. And because of that, the first 20 or so episodes, they obviously are slow. Like, it's slower than most battle shonen, right? Like Naruto, first 20 episodes, boom, we're talking like Zabuza and stuff. One Piece, that's how it is. But Reborn, it's obviously a lot slower because it started out as a slice of life anime. And they, changed it to a battle type anime. Even though it's not as much action as you'd like, background for the characters. So, all the people you meet about, all the people, the main cast. So, we meet Suna, obviously, we meet Reborn, we meet the other characters. I'm not going to spoil too much, but, that's what we're going to meet. So, even though the first 20 episodes are kind of slow, it's worth it, bro. Because when it gets good, it gets really, really good. One thing to note about it is, they fight, they have a really, really unique power system. They basically use flames, right? But there are different types of flames. So, for instance, there's a lightning flame, right? Which the lightning flame has a certain attribute to it. There's the sky flame, which has a certain attribute. There are basically 7 flames, and that's an important number. There's 7 different flames, and they each correspond with a color of the rainbow. That's really important. I can't really speak on why right now, but that's really important. Obviously, if you search up the show, one thing you're gonna see right now is that Reborn's a baby, and you're gonna think bro, is a baby. Well, obviously he's not just an ordinary baby. You watch episode 1, he's nice. It's not a spoiler for me to tell you that Reborn is. You could just tell off rip he's one of the nicest people in the show. We don't know why, we don't know how. Well, I know how, obviously, but you watching it the first time won't know how or why, but you'll know, dang, this person's probably nice. And with Suna, one thing about these two anime that I'm talking about, but obviously I'm talking about Suna right now, is that if you want something fresh, like a breath of fresh air in terms of the shonen, because these are both shonen actually, these are some good anime. Because Suna, how do you describe Suna to you? He's not like the typical shonen Jump, right? He's not like Luffy or Naruto where they're super headstrong and they'll follow their wills till they die or whatever, right? They're not like Goku or something. They're not even like freaking Light, who's some super calculative genius. No, he's a regular dude. Suna's super regular. Suna's not even regular. He's below average. He's very below average. And to see him grow and stuff, it's amazing. That's just honestly short. That's all I can say. It's really, really good. The character development in the show is really good. The power system's really cool. It doesn't have this transformations kind of like One Piece and Naruto do as much, but there are definitely still forms that are really, really cool. it kind of sucks because these two animes have, I would say, they have faults that are not their own type thing. But one thing that Reborn had, well, two things that Reborn has that kind of takes away from it being as good as it is one, there's no dub. I mean, I'm not gonna say like, oh, it's end all be all. I know a lot of the anime community does not like dubs, but it not having a dub just takes away from part of the community. Like, that's just eyes that won't be able to see it, right? Because when I started watching Naruto as a kid, Naruto, I watched it on Cartoon Network. It was in dub. That's why I like Naruto. The Naruto dub was really good. I watched One Piece. Well, I didn't watch One Piece when it came out, but a lot of people watch One Piece in dub and for kids. Reborn not having a dub, that adds to why a lot of people don't know about it. But one thing that kind of sucks with Reborn is, I think there are like 7 or 8 arcs in the show. I'm just this off of what I remember in my mind. Probably like about 7 it's like 6 to 8 arcs. The last 2 arcs of Reborn are not animated, and because they're not animated, it's like, bro, it like, again, that takes away from it, because anime is just so easy to digest, right? People are going crazy over Jujutsu, which, by the way, I just started watching and reading. So if y'all want to see me make like Jujutsu Kaisen content, just let me know in the comments. I'm like on episode 14. So that's basically like the tournament thing is gonna start with Yuji Itadori and like the crew. Which, by the way, it's so hard to remember their names. I can't remember all their names, but I'm gonna figure it out, obviously. If I make content on it, I have to. But if you want to see me make content on Jujutsu, just let me know. Like, we see how crazy people are going over Jujutsu. We see how crazy people going over Fire Force and Demon Slayer. I'm not even talking about OGs like Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece. So having like the anime fully animated would be really good. But it's, especially when, in my opinion, I think the last 2 arcs of Reborn are like probably the best. And them being like still manga chapters, like the anime never finishing, it takes away from it, because 100% of the anime community are not open to reading the manga, which kind of sucks. But Reborn's really, really good. And also, if you want creative fighting, Reborn has that. Like, there's some anime, I'm not gonna call any anime out or anything, but there are some anime that fight very similar, like the characters. Like, if they have this one fighting style, all of them do. Reborn does not have that. So Suna fights with like fire, right? Like fire in his hands. Similar to, if you watch Fire Force, it's like Shinra, but if he uses hands. Because Shinra fights kind of like a breakdancer, which is icy. But he fights like a breakdancer. Well, Suna fights with his hands in that kind of similar manner. He fights like that. There's a character that fights with bombs, all types of bombs. There's a character that fights with tonfas, icy, obviously. There's a character, that fights with guns, clean. A character that fights with his hands like a box, like he's basically a boxer. There's that. There's a character that fights with swords. There's a character that fights with a trident and genjutsu. Like, it's just different types of fighting, and you're gonna like a character there because they're so different. Like, they're so unique and they're all likable. So there's gonna be someone you like in that show, and not to mention the art. Like, the story is really, really good. So I told you it's about a mafia boss, but like, there's more to it than that, obviously, because it's not like when I thought mafia, when you think mafia, you think like Italian hitman guns, which, it is involving Italy. There are guns, but it's not just that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's more than that. So like, that should still be in your mind, but don't think of it. It's like, bro, come on, bro, it's shonen. Like, I don't have to explain. Like, for instance, when you thought pirates before One Piece, you thought the ships. Luffy's not really like that, you know what I'm saying? Ninjas, you thought like shadow clones and stuff, which Naruto wasn't always like that, you know what I'm saying? So like, I'm saying mafia, but it's not exactly like that. But it still has that aspect as well. There is still that aspect, but they add in their own little spin to it. Like, they add like the shonen aspect, which is really, really cool. Like, I think Reborn's an older anime. I wouldn't say it's like OG like Naruto, but it came out in like early 2000s, so it's a veteran industry, basically. A lot of people know about it, but like I'm gonna be obviously getting clips and, well, not clips, probably pictures for this video, and it's not easy to find. Like, I was trying to watch some Reborn videos a couple days ago, and it's super hard to find. Like, it's super underrated. Like, I've been on Twitter for a minute now, and I've seen about maybe 10 people bring up Reborn, and I follow a lot of anime people, so that's kind of crazy to me. I'm not gonna like I think one thing that anime people like to do that's kind of toxic is like slander one anime to bring up this other one, but I'm not gonna slander any other anime, but Reborn at its best can hang with the best of them. That's what I'm saying. Reborn has amazing arcs, good song, good music. Obviously, the OSTs they'll get you hype. Characters are tough, power system's tough, storyline's really fun. It has everything you'd want. Like, come on, bro. Like, it's a must watch, bro. I 110% recommend Reborn, bro. I know the first 20 episodes are not like the best of all time or anything. It starts out slow for sure, but one thing to note is that it's building up the characters, right? It's trying to make you know them, learn about them. So when you get to the good stuff and you get to the hype moments and the shonen stuff, the shonen aspect, you're like, oh, I know this character, I know this guy, I know Suna. So obviously, like, one thing I had to know about the whole Vongola thing, right? Because they're called like the Vongola family, which is that's the boss of the show. It's the head of the mafia is called the Vongola boss. So one thing with the Vongola boss, you know, most mafia people have men, right? But you know, in this show, the guards are, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you think of Hitman, when you think of mafia bosses, you think of having subordinates. The subordinates are called guardians, and just like, you know, there are 7 types of flames in the show because they usually use flames. But even though I'm saying flames, it's not like all fire, kind of like Fire Force. It's a little different. Like the Sky Flame, which Suna uses, is fire-like, but the other flames are not necessarily inherently fire. He has 6 guardians, so it's the boss and the 6 guardians, and each guardian represents a different flame. So, and it corresponds with like the sky, right? So the Sky Flame is the boss because everything's in the sky, and you have the other aspects of it, which they involve weather in some sort, pretty much. So that's a really good, you know, estimate of what's happening there. I don't want to say too much because it's a really good show. So if you're gonna watch it, I'm not gonna spoil it for you. So I think that experience is really good, you know, to get through. And obviously, since it's, you know, underrated, one good aspect of it being somewhat underrated is that you're not gonna catch spoilers of it for the most part, right? I'm not gonna be tweeting about it, especially spoilers. That's OD. I'm not that kind of guy. But it's gonna be tough. The thing is with Suna, like kind of similar to Midoriya, like people who like My Hero, you'll probably gravitate to Suna because, I'm not gonna slander anyone, but like you'll gravitate to Suna because Midoriya is kind of in the mold of Suna because Suna came like a decade before. It's kind of similar. So when Suna's having those cool moments, you're like, dang, he cool now. He was lame before, but he's cool now. So that's obviously tough. Like I said, the power systems are cool. Everything about the anime and manga is cool. It's not a perfect series by any stretch of the imagination, but it's really good, and people watched it. I think I recommend it for sure. But that's Reborn. Where to watch it? Wherever you watch anime. I'm not gonna say any. Yeah, Crunchyroll, wherever you watch anime, basically. So obviously, you know, there's no dubs. The last 2 arcs, which I think the last 2 arcs are essential because, but we get to do some of the characters and stuff, and there are some mysteries that if you watch only the anime, they don't get solved. They have a little cute ending or whatever, it's cool, but the manga like explains pretty much everything, and you're like, it all makes sense now, and it makes everything go full circle. Just trust me when I say the 2 last arcs, whew, them joints are fire. BDA Law, Brago the Ace, and JD Legend. Shout out those people if you probably already know them if you're on this channel, but check them people out. Those are 2 people that I watch their content specifically, and I've heard them bring Reborn references all the time, pretty much. I think Brago had like a Reborn reference like on his last video, the video where he's talking about things you had to be there for. So like, this is not some like, this is obviously like a gem in the rough or whatever, but this is not just me. Like, if you don't trust my opinion or whatever, those are 2 pretty big anime channels that are saying that Reborn's a good, like, you know, anime, so check it out. Now the second anime / manga that I'm gonna talk about today is, I'd say, probably definitely more known than Reborn, and it is Shaman King. Now, Shaman King came out back in the day. Pretty sure it used to come on, it definitely used to come on 4Kids.TV. I'm talking about with like TMNT 2003, Yu-Gi-Oh, all them joints, and it was a banger. The theme song, I still remember that joint to this day, fire. But it kind of says that these 2 animes, like I told you, had something not wrong with them, but something that I think stops them from being as known as they should be for how good they are. The problem with the Shaman King anime is the problem that Fullmetal Alchemist had, which I'm not gonna slander it, but just hear me out. So Shaman King, the anime, was ongoing at the same time as the manga. And, you know, a lot of series are like that. But the difference is the manga came out, because of the speed that the manga and anime came out, and like how the licenses stuff worked, I'm not a huge pro at that stuff. But because of how that stuff happened, the anime was forced to end the show before the manga ended. And what that caused was that the anime at a certain point in time became a non-faithful adaptation of the manga. And I like the anime. Like I told you, the theme song still banging. I think like the first 40 episodes, if I'm not wrong, were still like canon because they go the same way. But at a certain point it diverges, and objectively I think the manga's just better. I think it's better. It portrays the theme that I think it wanted to, and there's other like mini series that come out of it. So it's objectively the canon one. We know that the manga, obviously, in terms of being canon, will surpass the anime. Now, I think the anime is still good to a certain episode number. Obviously, I'd still recommend the anime. I'd still recommend the anime because it's still pretty good. But the full experience, I think, is watching the anime at a certain point, and then once you find out where it diverges, to read the manga. But let me give you a synopsis of what it is. So, Shaman King is about a kid named Yoh Asakura. I'm gonna use the dub names because I grew up with a dub, 4 kids. I know the sub names or like the names in the manga, but it'll just throw me off if I don't use it because the anime names I just catch a lot faster. But the character is Yoh Asakura, and basically this show is about ghosts. They're Shaman King, right? And Yoh Asakura is from a very important family. And to be blunt, basically, Shaman King comes, I think, every 500 or so years. Basically, it's time for the tournament, and the next Shaman King, who is it gonna be? Who's gonna be? Type thing. So that's, it seems pretty simple, right? But here's the wrench that's thrown in. I told you Yoh Asakura is from a special family, right? But I didn't tell you how special that family is. The Asakura family are a powerful shaman family, right? And the first Asakura is Zeke Asakura, right? Or Hao in the manga. You're probably wondering what's so important about him. But basically, in short, he's one of the most powerful shaman ever. You're probably wondering why I'm bringing him up. He's supposed to be dead. It's been like thousands of years. But he grew evil through a lot of, I don't want to go too crazy into the lore, but basically through some crazy circumstances, similar to I'd say Pain. I had a Naruto video, so you should know who Pain is pretty much. Like Pain, like Dofi, certain characters. He grew kind of insane, basically against the world, against humanity, and he did die, but he's such a powerful shaman that he developed the ability of reincarnation, and as such, he reincarnated not once, not twice, but 3 times, and each time he controlled which family he reincarnated into. One time he reincarnated to a different family, but the 3rd time he reincarnated to the Asakura family again, the family that he created. Now it's no problem. The elders and stuff, they figured out that, so they were gonna kill him, which was everything was fine. But one problem with that is the father would have to kill him because the father was the head of the branch or whatever. And one of the elders asked him, what happens if you have twins? And he's like, what you mean? She's like, oh, your wife is said to have twins. We know one is gonna be Zeke, the all-powerful Asakura that will try to destroy the world. What happens if it's him? He's like, bro, I'll kill them both. Zeke is a problem. When we talk about iconic anime villains, he doesn't get brought up a lot because he's super unknown. I'm not gonna say he's but let me just put it into words. Think of someone just think of a character kind of like Madara, who has he's chopped, he's nice as hell, and he just wakes up to choose violence. That's kind of like Zeke. So they know, first of all, Zeke created the branch, so the Zeke character is tough. So he's like, I'm gonna kill him, but fatherhood stuff, that's no joke. So he's not able to kill Zeke. He hesitates for a second, and in that second, Zeke gets out of there and he's straight. So Zeke and Yoh were twin brothers, but Zeke's reincarnated, so it's it's a twist on it. So they basically had to train Yoh to be the one to beat his twin brother Zeke, and that's the plot of the series. So shaman from all over the world are gonna train, or have been trained their whole lives pretty much. This generation of shaman, because it's not every year or every 10 years. It's a big gap. So they know when the next shaman like tournament will be, the next shaman fight, basically. So whatever generation it falls on will be trained from birth, basically, to become the next Shaman King. Because if you're the shaman, like for instance, if I have a family, right, and I train my son to be a Shaman King, and your son is brought up in your values, when he becomes a Shaman King, which is like all powerful, like the god of the series, he'll basically probably do what you say, or like your family will be all powerful. So everyone wants a bite of the apple, but it's only one apple. You can only take one bite. So everyone you're gonna learn from different cultures, from every type of thing, everywhere in between. And Yoh fights a certain type of way. He has a sword, but not everyone fights with a sword. Some people fight with ice. Some people fight with fire. It's really cool. Let's talk about the power systems real quick. Like, they use ghosts, but it's not as simple as Danny Phantom or something. Don't think it's that basic. Nah. So there's a shaman and there's a ghost, and they make a link basically, and the ghost can go inside the shaman and fight for him. So for instance, Yoh Asakura, his ghost is Amidamaru. If you watch the dub, it's the voice of Goku, so have fun with that. But the voice of, Goku. But Amidamaru is a swordsman, and as such, when Yoh, merges with Amidamaru, he has all, basically Amidamaru can control his body. So you're putting a 500-year-old swordsman or samurai in the body of a kid. So obviously Yoh's gonna be nice now. Yoh has all the techniques of a samurai, all the memories and stuff. So, that's basically how it works. And, there's more to it because it's a shonen, so it's going to get better. I'm not going to explain all of it because I don't want to spoil it. But the fighting is good on it. Honestly, it's really good. So, if you want, and they have different fighting scenes kind of similar to Reborn. So if you want, a sword, like you want swordsmen, there are swordsmen there. People that fight with elements, there's the elements there. It's just different stuff all around. There's some good news on Shaman King that Reborn unfortunately doesn't have. And that good news is that the anime is actually coming back. I told you it's how Shaman King, the anime, is similar to Full Metal Alchemist, where the anime is not a faithful adaptation, and as such, Full Metal Alchemist fans, they have Brotherhood to watch if they want the anime, or they have the manga. Shaman King did not have that. If you wanted the full adaptation, you just had to read the manga or the manga, and you were just out of luck otherwise. But one thing that's really great that happened is a new Shaman King was released, or it was announced, I should say. Coming on Netflix, I know that's for sure. So I'm super excited about it. One thing to note is I'm pretty sure it comes out next month. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be dropping in April 2021. So I'm gonna be on that journey. I'm making content about Shaman King, so I'm letting y'all know this right now. So y'all should watch it. That's what I'm saying. You're gonna love it. I'm gonna be making content about it when it drops. So there's that. It's a really great anime in my opinion. It's super underrated. People just don't know a lot about it, which sucks. But it is what it is. So Shaman King's getting its own Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood treatment. So obviously this anime is gonna be fully, it's gonna be played by the book. It's gonna be like the manga. It's probably gonna be canon like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood was. It's gonna be a faithful adaptation, and that's really great. With the creator and stuff working on it and the Netflix team, they could add in some stuff that's canon and make it tough. Shaman King Reborn are really, really great shows that I think don't get talked about a lot. Shaman King, I've heard a couple people talk about it, to be honest. And I think Shaman King, when the anime drops in a month, you probably won't see people talk about it that you didn't knew about it. So the Shaman King love will continue to happen on this channel, and it'll probably happen a lot more, especially with it dropping next month. So that's perfect timing. I couldn't have done it any better. I'm just excited, man. Shaman King and Reborn are two anime that I really like watching. I'll go back and watch fights of it. I've read Reborn maybe 4 times. I know I first started watching it 2012, 2013, around then, but I've rewatched it around 4 times. Shaman King, I say I've rewatched it 3 or 4 times, probably 3 times. But obviously I watched both as a kid. I watched Shaman King at a younger age, but I didn't know that there was a manga, and then I read the manga. Same with Reborn. So those are 2 shows that the manga kind of do it justice, so to speak. Shaman King is going to get its anime released soon, in a month or so. So there's that. It's going to get its love. What makes Shaman King super interesting is that, it's not just the people, the shaman or the humans or whatever, right? They're also the ghosts, and they have their own personalities and stuff. They have their own fighting styles. and they're actually characters, so they're not just like throwaways. They're really interesting as well. And it's not just shaman, right? Because the show's called Shaman King. Shaman are people who use ghosts to fight, but there are other different types of people who use ghosts in certain different ways and stuff. So it's super complex. Like, it's really tough. One thing about Yoh Asakura, the main character, he's another character that's not like pretty much anything like most protagonists, where, you know, Naruto, Luffy, Goku, they're so upbeat, have so much energy. Yoh's chill. Like, Yoh is literally, he's the definition of just vibing. He's going through the motions. He's kind of like Shikamaru from Naruto, if you know. Which, I mean, you could say he's lazy in a sense. Yeah, you could say that. But he's really chill. He just do what he trying to do. And he's just a kid who has this big responsibility like pushed on him from others, you know, from his family, people he knows, all that stuff, which you could probably relate to in some way, shape, or form. So there's that. These two anime and manga I really like because they're not the traditional shonen, which, what is the, you know, they're not the traditional shonen mold that some shonen tend to take. The main characters are not like that. The ending isn't very traditional shonen. The evil, like the quote-unquote villains are not traditional shonen villains. Maybe Zeke, you could say he's similar to Madara, but I don't think there's a traditional like shonen villain mold or archetype. So either way, these are two series that need more respect, and this is just me, you know, giving light to them. I don't got a huge fan base or whatever, but if even one person watches or reads Reborn or Shaman King, that's tough to me, because those are two shows that I watched as a kid, and I remember finding out that Reborn's anime didn't finish. I was like, damn, that sucks. Or finding out the Shaman King anime diverged in a certain way because of logistics, and there's no anime adaptation that's, you know, on brand, and I'm like, damn, that sucks. Shaman King's coming back though, so that's tough. But that's just you know, that's my thoughts on them. Reborn and Shaman King, those are two really great anime. This video's about them, but I cannot stress that enough. Like, these are not just like run-of-the-mill anime. These are very memorable animes. That's like something to know. Like, you will find a character in both of these shows that you're like, damn, this guy's icy, this guy's clean. I like this guy's backstory. Backstories are really good. So, let me know what y'all think about this video. I'm going to be making more content than just One Piece content. Obviously, you can see there's some other things I'm going to be talking about. One Piece will always be a staple, of course, but if you want me to talk about different anime or manga, let me know and I'll tell you if I'm able to do it or not. I told you that, you know, I'm watching Jujutsu Kaisen right now. So when I get caught up on playing, I'm making content about it. But if you want me to make content beforehand, I can, but just let me know. That's just the thing. Yeah, let me know what y'all think down below. But I'm out though, so peace.